All right, I'm recording. Good evening, everybody. My name is John Ross. I'm principal at Lineville Middle School. Thank you. Wow, I mean, thank you so much. I got to tell you, it's great to have so many parents join us. I guess this is probably a long overdue idea since we have so many people that are interested. For those of you that were able to make it in December, our goal here is to help you. We feel like we spent a considerable amount of time since all this craziness started almost a year ago, trying to reach out to your children, trying to do things to connect with your kids, trying to make your children feel like they're a part of things at LMS. And then it dawned on us, dawned on me in December at least. It didn't start to, make an impact on me until December that, wow, we really haven't done enough to try to connect with our parents. And you're a tremendous resource and just give us so much support and do so much for your children that we really felt like we needed to do something. So last month, we did a presentation on the resources that we have at school, things that you can take advantage of in order to help your child, whether it's academically, social and emotionally, or even when it comes to physical wellness. So I would encourage you to check out that video. I've shared that, and if you lost the link or whatever, would like me to share it again, all you got to do is reach out to me via email, and I'd be happy to share that again. But so for this meeting, we're going to be spending some time talking about Schoology, which we know for many of our families, for many of our parents in particular, including this parent, is an area of much confusion at times. As somebody who uses it professionally, I should probably know it a whole lot better when it comes to my own daughter's use of Schoology at her school. So I'm going to pay close attention. Fortunately for our parents, I'm not leading the presentation tonight. So you're probably going to learn a whole heck of a lot. But I just want to take a moment and go through the LMS staff that are here, just have them say hello and introduce themselves. And I'm just going to go across my screen with the teachers first and then the administrators. So Ms. Haffich, you want to say hi?
Hi everyone, my name is Colleen Haffich. I am the science and team leader science teacher and team leader for the Rough Riders team.
Mrs. Craig.
Hi, I'm Jenny Craig. I am the team leader and English teacher for the American Eagles team, 8th grade.
Mrs. Janich.
Hi everybody, Emily Janich here, 8th grade ELA teacher on the 8B Union team and the team leader as well.
Ms. Hoover.
Hi everybody, 7B, I'm Deb Hoover, science teacher and team leader.
Mr. Fox.
Hey everyone, I'm Colleen I'm Brian Fox. I am the team leader and history teacher for the 1776ers, 7D.
And Mr. Grzybowski.
Hello everybody, Mr. Grzybowski, Mr. G, great to see a lot of former 7A Blue Coat family members and current 7A Blue Coat family members, as well as everyone else. Appreciate everybody's time this evening. Looking forward to speaking with you.
And Mrs. Carter.
Hi everyone, I'm Christina Carter. I am a school counselor and I work primarily with the students whose last names begin with the letters A through G. And I'm also the building leader for the school counseling team.
And then our two fantastic assistant principals, Dr. Henry.
Hi, I'm Dr. Henry. I work primarily with students with last names H through N.
And Miss Lear.
Good evening, Janice Lear. I work primarily with students, last names O to Z, and I will be primarily leading this session this evening. So is there anything else, Dr. Ross, before we get started?
No, it's just other than I work primarily with students last name A through G, but as with all of that, we just divide that up just to kind of help us. But if you ever need any one of us as far as the administrators go, don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us. Again, for the folks who joined us late, we are recording this. And just real quick, Miss Lear is going to be guiding you through Schoology and taking you through some of the major aspects of Schoology. We're going to try to make it as interactive as possible for you, in that if you have questions, if you have things that you're wondering about, we will allow for time at the end to do that. And we've even prepared, we're even ready to kind of push you into breakout rooms. So if we have parents that are maybe a little bit more skilled in use of Schoology, but would like to get into some of the finer details, we can kind of differentiate and work with you. And folks that might have, some more basic questions, we can work with you. But Miss Lear has been nice enough to kind of use her, take advantage of her, I guess we would say, because she is also a school parent. She's a Downingtown parent. So she's going to be able to share with you a lot of the things that she sees, which are similar to what you're going to see. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Miss Lear and I'll let her take over the show.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Ross. So quickly, I just want everyone to know that the topic for tonight was driven by feedback and questions we received from parents. We spoke with our counseling team, our team leaders, the administrative team, and this was a constant theme we heard, is that parents really needed a little bit more guidance in how to use Schoology. So this came from you. So I would certainly encourage you, as we continue through the year, if there are other topics that you feel would be valuable or interesting for you, to let one of us know so we can make sure we're providing that support for you, okay? And I really do want this to be very interactive, so please don't hesitate to pause me or ask any questions. All right, I'd like to start with a quick poll just to get a sense of kind of who we have here. Please know that this is completely anonymous, but if you could just give us a sense of kind of where you are with your knowledge base with Schoology, that will be helpful.
Can the teachers chime in here?
Sure.
I was just
Why
about
not?
to say that, Mrs. Craig.
Why
I was
not?
about to say the same thing.
Already did.
Wait, we've been using Schoology this whole time?
Wait, what?
What's school?
Looks like we have a few more folks that are deciding where they land. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end it because it looks like maybe those who haven't responded maybe are our teachers and counselors and admin. Okay, so this is what it looks like we have here. We've got a few that would consider. Can everybody see these results? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So we do have a few that are would characterize themselves as power users. Normally, if I knew who this was, I might turn it over to you and ask you to lead it, but you will certainly be likely called upon down the road. And it looks like the most of you are, using it occasionally, but maybe you just need some guidance into how to harness all the value in it more consistently. And then for those of you, Schoology, what's Schoology? You're in the perfect spot. Glad you're here. All righty. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get us started. Okay, so two goals for tonight is we want to make sure that before everybody leaves here, you are successful, if you don't already, in creating a Schoology account that is connected to your child or children. It sounds like most of you already are at that point, but we will have an opportunity at the end to walk you through the steps to make sure you can do that. And there are 3 key areas we're going to be focusing on tonight. And these are areas that the teachers have advised and that I've experienced as a parent help me best support my children, my son who's in high school right now. That would be the calendar feature, looking at the student courses dashboard, and then the grade book. So that's what we're going to be focusing on tonight. Having said that, at the end of this, if there are other areas when we're in breakout rooms, our great team of teachers here can certainly provide any support in that area. Okay. What I want to do next is show you, sorry, it's a little bit delayed, what your child sees. This is a snapshot of my son's calendar in Schoology. And what I really like about this is that for many students, having this visual is a great tool. It is color, he set a different color for each course. And as you can imagine, that's a really great tool to have as a student in planning your day and planning your week. So this shows for all of his classes, I'm sorry, I had to turn off the, annotation. This shows for all of his classes what he has upcoming. So it's fed directly from Schoology, so he has that quick visual. Okay. As a parent, and this is let me try to move some stuff out of the way here. This is my son Shane's account. I am linked to his account. So when you log into Schoology, this is likely what you see for your child. And that's my little handsome devil who's a sophomore up here in the right-hand corner. This is our launching pad, and you can see this is the dashboard. So you'll have key announcements right here, recent grades, things that are overdue. Of course, we don't like to see some of that stuff back from September he never quite got to, but that's our reality, as it might as well be yours, okay? So I think that the most value in Schoology is using it as a planning tool. We know that Infinite Campus provides visibility to grades after work has been submitted and it's been assessed. But Schoology is great to really help your child build that capacity as a learner, to be more proactive, to be organized, and to really plan out his or her day. And what I found is the best way to do that is using the calendar feature. So, and I'm going to show you mine in just a second, but you can see the icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen that looks like a calendar. That is where you would go to access that calendar feature. And I'm going to pause for a minute so I can launch the actual Schoology page. There we go. Okay, can everybody see my screen there? Give me a thumbs up, great. Okay, so this is basically, now this is live of the snapshot that I showed you in the PowerPoint, okay? So if I were gonna use, and what I typically do, and this is just the practice we have, is that each Sunday evening, we take the time to look at his calendar for the week to see what he has that's upcoming or due. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the calendar, and you will see here I can look and see each day what assignments he's going to have due, assessments, projects for each day, okay? So I can look at that and look at this, for example, and see that for tomorrow he has PSAT prep that's due in English. He's got an activity in health, looks like a little bit of a lab in chemistry, and an assessment in business management. Okay, does everybody see that? Does that make some sense?
Yeah, Miss Lear, can you go back one to show us how you got to that again? I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's okay.
For a second.
Yeah.
Just in case I'm not the only one. It's that.
No, that's great. So I'm in the upper right-hand corner, right next to his picture. There's a calendar icon. So that's what we use to get right to his calendar for all of his courses. And so if and he's not here right now, but if I were to say, let me just see, I can see that he's got an activity in health that's due tomorrow, okay? So I might then, if I go, for example, back to his courses, and this is where it always gets dicey when you're showing your kids' work and grades. So this is risky. I hope every parent out there appreciates the risk and the beads of sweat right now. I'm going to go to his health class, and I'm just going to check to see if he did this assignment that's due tomorrow. I can see again up here, yep, this week 19 activity, the media, and it's mixed messages on nutrition and body image that is upcoming. It's due tomorrow. And then where you go to look to see, and I'm going to go back to this later too, if work has been submitted, is in the grades section. I'm now in the left-hand side, the left-hand menu, and I can go to grades. And I'm scrolling down here. We're in the second marking period. There are these assessments. These are his assignments. And I'm going to scroll down, and okay, yes, he did submit it. This last thing here, I see this week 19 activity, the media and its mixed messages. He submitted it at 7 p.m. or I'm looking at it right now at 7 p.m. and he scored an 18 out of 20 on it. Okay. So that's one way to kind of reconcile what you know was going to be due to help, you know, the planning, and then you can also go back to see if it was submitted. Okay. I'm going to get back. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you click on, can you click, I'm curious from the parent view, because I don't even know this, but if you click on the rubric, can you see the rubric too? The parent, I'm just curious.
You have, I think you have to go to the assignment. So if I were to go to, I'm trying to think one that has it. See, if you go to a lot of these, it just kind of has the description here.
Okay.
The parent interface is a little bit different than the student interface.
Miss Lear, the ones that have, if you go back, the little puzzle piece, not the puzzle piece, but the little grid looking thing have a rubric attached to them. And then if parents, if you see the little Word document icon next to the number, that's the assignment submission itself, that will show you that something has been submitted. So the little tiny blue rectangle.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so I just wanted you to see that you can use that looking ahead to see when something's due and then going to see if it was submitted. Okay. When we're gonna get back to gradebook, because that's a really, I use that a lot as well. Okay. The other thing I just wanted to show quickly, again, you saw this. If you go to courses in the upper left-hand side, this is where you'll see it's like the nice dashboard of all your child's courses, okay? And this is where your student goes to, or you're not your student, your child goes to access all of his or her resources, okay? Let me go to, I'll go to a different class.
Lear, are you showing us that on an iPad? Or are you showing this
on
a laptop?
This is on my my computer.
Okay, because that's what it looks like on my laptop, but I have my iPad here signed into my daughter's account. It doesn't look anything like that. Like the calendar doesn't look like that.
The app and the web version are a little bit different. That's true.
Like I don't, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so as a parent, I think most parents, whether you have, you know, if you have an iPad, then you're likely, you could use a browser. We typically recommend Safari or Google Chrome browser to use that version as opposed to the app. That way it'll look similar to what you're seeing here.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, that's a great point.
Ms. Lear, one question here.
Yeah, sure.
So the previous point which you mentioned, right? Like I went to the course dashboard. I went inside one of the courses, and when I click on the grades, I do see it's a marking period, like, you know, 1, 2, kind of, okay. And when I click on those marking periods, right, it doesn't let me go inside that, like, you know, nothing happens basically. Like I'm in one of my sons, like he's a 7th grader, maths class, and M2, and it doesn't do anything, you know, when I click into grades and that marking period too. Okay, I'm on my laptop using the Chrome browser. Okay,
So
I'm not sure it's a permission issue. Yeah.
Okay, so when you go to one of the, and again, it's hard for me without seeing yours, but perhaps we can tackle that in a breakout room. So you're saying that when you click on one of these like hyperlinks, for lack of a better term, in assignments, you don't have visibility to anything?
Yes, you're right.
Not all the teachers put assignments here. I think that could be the reason. I have one of my kids' teacher, they don't put all, like, he doesn't put everything here, so I don't see it here.
I think, Ms. Lear, I think you're right. I think when we wrap up and we start getting people into groups,
yeah,
and we could like almost share screens back and forth in those breakout groups. So we'd be able to see what some of the parents are looking at to try to walk them through that.
Yeah, that would be
yeah,
helpful.
we'll definitely do that. So I do want to show, so this is the grade book, and again, this is really an important feature. You can see grades that were assigned. What I like to look at is this icon here that looks like a doc icon. That is what's indicating to you that something was submitted, okay? So for example, I can see that this moles and mass Dropbox, something was submitted. It hasn't been graded yet, but my son Shane did submit something. So when your child says, if you look and say there's no grade for this, and your child says, I submitted it, well, this is a way that you can kind of reconcile that or audit that and say, oh yes, I see you did. It may be that, you know, was just due today, so the teacher will grade it in the next couple of days. I happen to know this one is one that it was due last Friday, and I texted Shane right before this meeting and said, can you please submit that moles and mass Dropbox? So he probably submitted that about a half hour ago. So that's another great tool. And then I do want to show you, I know that Ms. Jindich was mentioning the icon that tells you it was an assessment or a rubric. So I want to find a class again. Was that in health, Ms. Jindich? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was health.
Okay. Yeah. And then Ms. Kolomacek, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name. You have a question?
Yeah, undo it. Yes, I do. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I'm just entering now. We just finished dinner and we were actually talking about school over dinner, and I missed the beginning, but I just want to say something. I'm not sure if it was covered, but what you just said, I just heard the tail end of what you were just talking about on Schoology, and I brought this up to, I think I know what you were talking about. As a parent, it would be great to be able to go in one place. I know there's Schoology, there's Infinite Campus, and there's lots of places to look, it just seems like. But as a parent, if we can just be on top of our kids and have one place where we can see if our kids did not even do an assignment, if they're, you know, fooling around, playing games, doing all this other stuff that they shouldn't be doing, there should be one place. So where I've been looking is the overdue list on Schoology. But now I'm finding, because I brought that up, because I realized, for instance, like, for example, my child's math teacher, she never had anything on that overdue list. And she had to email me a couple times saying, oh, I just want to let you know that your child did not take this 2 quizzes, basically. She's behind. And I didn't even know, because it wasn't even on the overdue list. So now I found out that, and I'm fairly new to the district. We've only been here, it's our 2nd year. But I found out that only core classes will put overdue material and assignments on that overdue list. It would be great if all the classes, because I'm trying to keep on top of my kid, because really, overall, this is really difficult.
So let me address that if I can. I appreciate it. It's a great point. And I to address that best, I would have to go back a couple of years. This has been a process for our teachers to be able to get accustomed to implementing this as a resource for you. And we've been using it for a couple of years now, and each successive year, especially this year, teachers have gotten more and more skilled at some of those finer intricacies, some of those more specific things that you're referencing. And so a lot of it comes down to what a particular teacher's skill set is. So if I were to ask the 6, 7, 8 teachers on here how to best find out an answer to that question, I'd be willing to bet you're probably going to get 3 or 4 different answers, because each teacher has their way of doing things. And so now let me go back to before we had any of this. Before we had Schoology, before we had Infinite Campus, I go back, I've been in education since the early 90s when we had none of this stuff. Even then, different teachers had different ways of keeping parents informed. There's the bare minimum that all teachers must meet, and then there's teachers that are able, due to their skill and their comfort level and their expertise, to go above and beyond that. So all of our teachers have met the requirement for what they need to do. I think what we need to do a better job of, and we're working at trying to do a better job of, is trying to get all of our teachers exposed to some of the things you're talking about. And those are great points. and that's great, feedback for us to hear. And I just ask that, you be as proactive as you've been and finding out and talking to your child's teachers about, how do I find out? Shoot the teacher an email and say, I'm trying to stay abreast of what's going on with my child and their work. What do you think for your class is the best way for me to keep track of the work? Because we want it too. The teachers want that as well. So it just might involve a little bit of communication back and forth for both the teachers and the families in order to maximize that. Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Lear, for jumping in.
No, that's fine. It's true. And what I also found through the growing pains myself as a parent navigating Schoology is that once we shifted to using it as a more proactive tool and using the calendar each week, we got ahead of it. So there weren't as many overdue, because we got in the habit of each week what's going to be due. So there weren't not any, but there were far fewer surprises, and I felt that I needed to help him build that habit of being an independent learner and being more, accountable himself. So I think that, I concur with everything you're saying. It's not lost on us that this is challenging. That's why we're hosting this evening. But we're hoping that with this constant, this continuous communication and support, we'll make sure that everybody's able to realize the same value in it.
Yeah, real quick, Mrs. Janice, what can you say about that overdue list?
Yeah, I believe the overdue list is automatically generated and not something that teachers actually create as an extra step. So what Ms. Lear is showing you right here is, honest to goodness, the one-stop shop that you can look at for the classes. And what she just explained, looking at the documents that have been submitted, if there's a dash, what that means, and I'm sure she's going to go into the other things too, but the grade section is the section to look for. And I think that overdue list is just generated based on the due dates and the deadlines set within the assignments, if that helps at all.
Yeah, so if I'm back at the original homepage, you can see in the right it lists for all of the classes anything that's overdue, and then for all of the classes any things that are upcoming. And then you could go to individual classes to see, specifically for that class. So if I can go quickly back to health, because I think there were a couple things in that grade book, and I may defer to Ms. Janice because she is.
Oh, okay, where is it?
Was there a question? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say just two quick things about that. The calendar would be a good idea, but I realize that some teachers use the calendar and some teachers don't. And then with the overdue list, you're saying it's automatic, but then I found out from talking to some teachers, they said it's not automatic if they don't do something on their end. Like there's something, the way they put something in, because the math teacher, for example, Mrs. Moyer, realized that nothing was ever going on that overdue list because of something on her end, the way she was putting things in. But, and I just want to have a question about the grades. I was told to go on Infinite Campus to check grades. Isn't that a better place to look for grades, right?
That is our student information system portal that has all grades.
Okay.
Schoology is our learning management system, and what we're trying to explain tonight is how you can use that to help your child build capacity planning, see where all the resources are, but you can also see more specifically, that you can see the grade that a student earned, and you can see the assignment
I can see that. But now the big picture, and I just hope I can say this in a sentence or two, the big picture that's going on is, because the school is closed, because it's just a hybrid, there's like a mental health issue going on. And my daughter in particular is not doing the homework. There's more opportunity to fool around. She has more time, and more independence, and she's not taking advantage of that. She's really not self-motivated. She's one of those. So even if I look on the calendar, I can see, oh yeah, she has all this homework, and I'm thinking she's struggling, and it's taking her all day. I just realized, because at first I thought maybe it was like busy work homework, but now I realize that the homework should not be taking her so long until bedtime, but she's doing other things. So if I knew how long these projects or these assignments should take, if every teacher said, okay, this homework should take 20 minutes, this homework should take a half an hour, this project should take 1 day total. So I know, because unfortunately what's happening is as I said, she's not really self-motivated. She's very bright. With my child, the issue is the work isn't hard because a lot of kids, the issue is, oh, it's hard, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, but this is easy for her, but she's not doing it. And I just hope that the school, the fourth quarter at least opens and it's more normal because the kids aren't prospering. And
as I'm sure you know, that's well beyond my control or anyone's control that's in this meeting right now. And if I could, I'd like to direct us back toward Miss Lear's presentation. And then when that's over, I'll stay on here till 10 o'clock tonight to anybody that wants to take individual questions. But I really, in the interest of everybody's time, just want to get us back to the presentation if I could.
Okay, I know it's a lot, but a lot is going on. A lot.
We understand that.
That's
we
why
understand
we're here.
that. It's
why
not
we're
lost on us.
And
we appreciate you being here, and most of us here are parents as well. So we're all, we're all in this together, and we're all doing the best we can.
Yeah, but if everything can go on the overdue list.
What I'd like to do, actually, at this point, with Janice, if you could, I know that I talked about the doc icon indicating that something was submitted. I think you wanted to mention, were there a rubric?
There are a couple other icons that you can kind of pay attention to that tell you what type of assignment and or assessment it is. So right there, the little puzzle piece with a pencil icon, they're very tiny. I don't know why they do that.
I'm trying to make it large.
There it is. Yeah, that is a little pencil with the puzzle piece there. That's an assessment icon. So that means that is categorized as a test quiz type of thing. And then right below that icon that looks almost like a quilt square, right there, that is a rubric that goes along with the assignment, and they're kind of built in together. So the student can, and you can, which is cool for parents, click on that and see the score based on categories, the criteria, and hopefully any good rubric that's attached to an assignment also has descriptors for each of those. So we've kind of helped our students pay attention to this rubric, and they know to go there if they have questions first, and then always they can kind of conference with their teacher and talk a little bit more in depth about their assignment and the grade that goes along with it.
I just wanted to go here because the score looked a little better. So let me show this rubric because he did a little better on this one. Okay, thank you. All righty. So those were, we wanted to keep it focused and dialed in tonight, and we wanted to keep it focused on very pragmatic things that you can do using the calendar to help your child plan, accessing the course dashboard to see where resources are, and then really accessing, and it's kind of a continuum, right? The calendar is helping you plan before the work. The course dashboard gets you into courses so you have a better sense of what your child is doing. And then the grades is post. This gives you a sense or some clarity on what work has been submitted and what grade was earned for that, okay? So I think at this point, what I'd like to do is open it up for some general, well, not general, but questions regarding Schoology.
Ms. Lear, if I can interrupt, I apologize for interrupting. I just want, if any of the teachers that have joined us, I just want to kind of open it up if there's big issues, because things that they get to see from their lens, anything that Ms. Lear didn't cover that you think would be helpful or beneficial for any of the parents to hear. Any of the teachers have anything you want to add to what was discussed?
Dr. Ross, I'll just say, I think it would be really great for parents to know too that we have a lot of team leaders here tonight. If you check in with the team leader for the team, they can give you a really great understanding of which to look at to get the most recent grade. For instance, for our 8B union team, all core courses except for math, the most up-to-date grade is in Schoology, because that is where the assignments are. They get graded there immediately. When we sync them sometimes over to Infinite Campus, sometimes that syncing process takes a little longer. So the most up-to-date scores are in Schoology. However, for our math teacher, Mrs. Walker, she does a lot of work in big ideas. And so her most up-to-date score is in Infinite Campus. So we've tried anyway to let the kids know that's the most up-to-date and who to talk to if they have any questions about it. And we're really trying to make sure that that's streamlined for you and for your kids.
No, that's a great point, Mrs. Janice, and I think it's worth repeating that for because there's a lot of great questions that have already been asked, and I'm sure there's going to be more. But when it comes to those particulars, when it comes to due dates and grades, and anything related to things that you would find on Schoology or Infinite Campus, the team leader is a really great resource, and we've got a bunch of them here tonight. They're a great point person, a great contact person, because they know what's going on in at least the core classes, at least your child's core classes. They can provide you insight and direct feedback as to what's happening in them. So that's a great point, Mrs. Janice. Thank you. Other folks, other teachers, anything else, teachers, that we should cover before we open it up? Okay, so we might have a number of questions. I'm not sure where the hand raise feature is. Any of the teachers want to help me see where show the parents where the hand raise feature is? Because I think that might be helpful, since we're probably going to have a lot of questions if people can keep their hands up. Where is that?
I'm not seeing the hand raised. Just
okay. I thought maybe it was me.
The thumbs up.
If you go to participants, it will open up a right-hand side panel, and then on the bottom, there is a hand raise.
Yeah, one of the parents. The parents are showing us. See, we're learning from you as well. Thank you. So
there was one question in the chat that I'll answer quickly before we and that is that do all faculty members post their assignments prior to the start of the week? That's a great question. Most do, because we typically plan a week ahead, and that's great for our students. Having said that, our teachers are also very adept at pivoting during the week when they recognize that they need to, because students aren't accessing the material or are having difficulty, or conversely are moving through it very quickly. So there may be some, modifications during the week based on, how the students are doing in class. But yeah, I'm very confident that our teachers have done a really nice job of planning out the week ahead of time for our students to use that.
And I didn't want to steal your thunder there, Ms. Lear, but were we thinking that maybe we wanted to do breakouts if people had specific questions, if any parents wanted help, like with their kid, their child, and access, like, is that what we want to do, breakout
rooms? We can do that. At one point you mentioned doing like a general Q&A and then breakouts,
right.
Whatever.
So if we can start, I'll keep recording if we have like general questions, like things that you think will be helpful for other parents to hear, questions that, kind of not just pertain to your situation, but general questions for everybody. And then if we have specific questions, then we can go into the breakout rooms and I'll stop recording. But do we have any general questions for everybody? I see Jessica has the hand raise feature on.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
So under courses in the grades, what exactly does the dash mean? Just to, because I see a lot of dashes in my kids and I'm like, oh no, like what is she missing?
Who wants to take that one?
I'll jump in if you want. I didn't want to let any more dead air happen. It means a couple different things. If it's along with a document icon, it just means it hasn't been graded yet. And the dash also might mean if there's no icon there, it hasn't been graded yet because nothing's been submitted. And it could just be an upcoming assignment. So if I'm setting up the whole week at a time on early Monday morning, I'm setting them ahead for future dates. They're going to show up in that list that's generated, but we haven't gotten there yet. So that's why there's also could be a dash.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. I'm just going along where they appear on my screen. So sorry for the random order here. Cynthia, you have a question?
Thank you. All right, there are a couple things. I would probably love to see an example of what it looks like on the iPad, because that's where our daughter has difficulty navigating. when I go to Schoology and I jump in to help her, and I was really, my husband and I were both really trying to kind of let her spread her wings, and then she completely crashed and burned. And then we had to jump back in and now like save her again, because she really can't navigate that same way on the iPad. Like when you're talking about an overdue list, I don't see that anywhere on the iPad. When I look for grades, I'm looking in the grades for math. Now I've kind of pulled her along, and I do the Infinite Campus Schoology back and forth. Like I just keep it open on my laptop now so that I can go back and forth, and then you have to hunt down something on Infinite Campus, figure when the date was, and then go back to Schoology and find that assignment. She just doesn't have that kind of skill to bounce back and forth and stay focused in the middle of the bouncing. So like I just, when I look at that on the iPad now, my husband's got it open. Like, let's say we pull up math, not to get all on Mr. G, but I'm just looking. So I don't see for grades, if you put on something. Now, Mr. G, maybe you just use Infinite Campus and that's okay too. Okay, because I've kind of gotten used to doing that. But,
so if I can interrupt, I'm sorry, and I'll let you finish.
Oh, sure, because I just kind of
two great points you're making, two very good points. The iPad situation. There's a couple of ways that we can address that. One way that we can address that is we have a specialist in our building. She's called an instructional coach. Her name's Miss Curcio. We could set up an appointment where Miss Curcio could spend some time with your daughter and walk her through that. She could set up a Zoom with you there, with your daughter there, and like she's our go-to expert on all things iPad related. She's like a district expert on that. So we're lucky to have somebody in the building that can do that. Yeah. And if you want that, we can certainly set that up. The back and forth between the Infinite Campus and the Schoology, I would say your best bet, and I don't know if Mr. G wants to tackle that. I don't want to put him on the spot and say, address that now, but I feel like that might be on a teacher by teacher basis that the team could probably provide you support on that. Mr. G, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, and I agree from earlier how we all have our different experiences, and I think that's one thing for me, when giving some of those quizzes is it's more helpful for me to kind of have all the work written down and kind of see their work. So most of those assignments that I'm putting on there, it's better for me to see what's on there versus just kind of making a multiple choice question. Because with the math, I'm trying to see that process throughout. So I might not have as many grades that just like automate from a multiple choice section or like a true false section or a matching section, if that makes sense. So that's why for me, I kind of like having that to post everything there and to see what has been uploaded for many of the children. And then, like I said, for me, I just kind of take that time to upload those grades after I've seen that visually, for checking through that understanding for me personally. But it is, definitely a challenge, from some of the other classes, like you said, maybe a Schoology, because I know a couple of teachers on our team utilize some of those aspects. So most of them that I do know of, that it generates to Infinite Campus, but then we're also trusting in that it goes through smoothly. So no, I totally understand, your concern from that very much.
I do think the overdue list would be helpful, but I also think that it's up to us to stay on track, and then we won't have a bunch of things on the overdue list to try to hunt down. But where was the overdue list again? Because I didn't see how to get it on the iPad at all. Is it possible on the iPad, or is it just on the the laptop?
I think what I'm hearing is, and I've seen a couple parents have also messaged me on the chat, that it sounds like this is a need for more students. So I think what we'll do, this is great insight for us, and then I think that we will look to maybe develop some type of student workshop during our reach time, where teachers can ensure that all of our students on their iPad do have the capacity to navigate and use it and harness it for all that it's meant to do. So I can certainly, since my part of the alphabet, Mrs. Spicer, I can reach out to you if you would like to set up time with Mrs. Curcio. But I also think you guys have raised some great points that's something that perhaps we can offer next week or the following week for all of our students.
And teachers, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a point this year where they kind of wanted everybody to stop using the app and to start using ClassLink, right? So it might be good, Ms. Lear, as I hear you talking, for us to remind the kids and to remind the families that it's best to go through ClassLink to access this, and then it kind of is more similar to what you might see on the laptop version.
So you think maybe on my laptop, I'm on her Schoology page, not through ClassLink, and that's why it looks different?
I'm guessing because I can't
Okay.
see what you're looking at, but it
Yeah.
sounds to me like that could be what it is.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next, I got a couple more hands raised here. Dolly, who was nice enough to help us, showing us how to raise hands. So I should definitely make sure you answer your question answered.
Thank you, and thank you for doing this. So my question is, again, I think the biggest issue here is the consistency, and obviously I'm having the same issue with my kids not being focused. They have access to internet. I don't know what they're doing. Obviously the Overdue has been helpful. I was able to utilize that, but again, it doesn't always show your assignment on Overdues. It depends on if the teacher are putting the dates or not. So the consistency is obviously an issue here. My other question, and this is a general question, if there is an assignment overdue and a student submits it, is that a way for me to know that, okay, this was, or a teacher to know that, okay, this has been submitted? Because I keep nagging that, keep emailing your teachers, keep emailing, but I do understand the teachers are overwhelmed, and I don't want to more overwhelm them, by sending multiple emails on multiple times. So just a question.
Any of our teachers want to address that? It's a great question.
I can, Dr. Ross. What I always do, if students turn in work late, I always have them email me. That way I know it's there to check it. Otherwise, if they turn in something late, I might not know it's there. So I think other teachers do that as well. Just say, send me a quick email, say, hey, I turned this in. And then as teachers, we know to check it again.
And just to piggyback off that, I agree with Ms. Hoover 100%, but I would also have your child copy you in the email as well. Like have them send it to you, but also send it to us. That way we're both getting that same notification and we're both able to see, what it is that was submitted.
So that's what, I think there is a problem there, because if they're using the DSD account, they cannot send an email to us. It doesn't go outside of your school's system. So
restricted, so they can't communicate with
that is another problem there too. Yes, I don't know what kind of communication is happening between a student and a teacher, no matter. And I constantly have to nag, and
but maybe
I felt like
a reminder. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking as you're saying it. Maybe we should talk to our teachers about when they get those emails, when they reply, because most of the time, I don't know, Ms. Hoover, don't you reply to the kids saying thanks, I got it, or something like that? Maybe you could add, we can add the parent. We have the ability to add the parent. So, that might be a good practice for us to try to get people to kind of reinforce that, because that's a great point. And you understand why they can't add you. Like the restrictions that they put on are to prevent from being able to. So we can work around that because we can add anybody. As the adults, we can add parents if we need to. So
that would be helpful.
That's a great point. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Monica.
Hi. Thank you very much. Real quickly, I have an 8th grader, and I'm having some problems with the course page. I can't see all of her courses, so what I have to do is go to the calendar, click on an assignment for that particular class to be able to get into that class to see what's due and so forth. But I also wanted to tell you that it just so happened I was noodling around in Schoology, and I may be the only parent who didn't know this, but you can set it up so you get an alert on your email as to what's due every day. So at 5 o'clock, I get this email, and I sit down with my daughter and I say, did you do this, this, and this? And that helps a lot. But
that's a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Correct me if I'm wrong, teachers, but initially when we started on Schoology, that was on for everybody. And the parents were like, oh my God, we're getting way too many emails. So they've turned it off for everybody. So now you do have to go back in and turn that on. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So can you
How
help
do you
me?
do that?
That's in the settings, and if you want, I can like show that if at some point.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, after we
Keep
take
going,
questions,
Monica. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
That was
no,
great, though.
If we take questions, maybe real quick, you could share screen and show them how to do that. Because I have one more person after her that has a question. Go ahead, finish your rest of your point, Monica.
Yeah, so I can't see all of my daughter's classes on that screen when I go in my laptop. So again, I said I had to go to the calendar, find an old assignment in that class, and then click on that, then I get to the class. Is there a way to see all of the classes?
Any teachers have any ideas why that might be? Why she might not be able to see everything?
I wonder if that means that we'd have to, how, or at least on the teacher side, how we have to navigate our courses, because there's that top page home. There's, I believe, maybe 12 icons. And then, like, for example, on the teacher side, we have like a lunch icon, we have a coverage icon, and a homeroom icon. So there's like a line in the settings that when at the start of each year, is I drag up the classes that I teach to be on my main 12 page. And then some of those other courses, like my lunch, I don't need a Schoology page. I slide those under the thick bar that's there to recognize, what I don't need to see right off the bat, and then above that line. So maybe you may be able to move some of those other courses around that it necessarily doesn't have a Schoology page and kind of switch those.
Right, thank you.
I believe you can do that if you go up. I think it has to be in the web version too, but if you go up to the top right, there should be a little hyperlinked My Courses. And I think that may be where you can do that on your end. I can play around with that too, though, and get back to you.
Thanks.
Can I show the notifications quickly?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. You want to show folks how to do that before we get to other questions?
Alrighty, so quickly, I'm back here. I've just logged in. I'm at my home screen again for my son. And in the upper right-hand corner, there is the drop-down caret. When I click on that, there's an option for settings. I'm going to leave my cursor there so everybody can see that, settings. And that's what I select. And then there are two tabs, account settings, and then the first one is notifications. So this is for parent emails. This is where you can turn on or off notifications for assignments and things like that. So this is like down here, I think is what our other parent was referring to, the overdue submission email. So if I want to get those, I'm going to turn that on. And I've saved
Probably
my
have to click that save. You have to hit that.
Yep. So now I'll get, great. Now I won't sleep when I get all these overdue emails. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that's how you simply do that to get the overdue. And then you can also get like a weekly email summary.
All right, thanks, Janice. Let's see, Michelle.
Yes, hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so just tying a few of these things together. So my main purpose of attending was, I think this was already answered, but I just want to summarize to make sure I understand. We've seen inconsistencies between, particularly in math, I think because of the big ideas link and then grading in Infinite Campus. So quite honestly, our family, we've abandoned Schoology for that reason, because I just wasn't consistent. The grades seemed to be more accurate in Infinite Campus, as well as, again, going back and forth between the two and the fights between the parents and the kids. I'm like, this is a mess. I'm like, I can't even deal. It's just such a mess. So anyway, we moved to Infinite Campus and that seemed to be working, but we're missing a few things there. So now we're back to, this multiple systems. So my understanding is math most likely is on Infinite Campus. Don't look at Schoology. That seems to be a true statement. Is that correct? I see a lot of teachers.
I don't know if, representing the math department, I know I am specifically, but I guess at the same time, I don't know if I can say across the board that all of us would directly go that way, but yes.
Just to piggyback on what Ms. Janich said, it really does depend on the team. So, my team is exactly like Ms. Janich's team, and our parents know that Schoology is the place to go for all their core classes except for math.
Right.
So yeah, it's really just by the team.
Okay, and then that gets to my next point is, if the teams know this, instead of, 45 teachers in every class emailing each teacher to say what's going on, can we proactively send that out at the beginning of the year and say, almost like, homework or lessons learned, like, this is how we're going to communicate with you, and everything but math will be here, right? And then all the parents know, and that alleviates all this stress and confusion. Just proactively publish that at the beginning of the year. And then back to these color coding and the overdue list and where to look and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that's fantastic. I don't know how to do the color coding in the calendar. That would help. Those types of things would be great to know. And again, this all creates a lot of tension between the parents and the kids, because I think they're lying. I'm like, it's obviously not due. And they're like, no, I sent it in, and they've got to go show me their iPad. And I'm like, well, I don't believe you still. So send an email to your teacher. And it creates this whole circle of distrust. And
yeah, so let me try to help with that, because I want to say something, and I haven't said it yet tonight, but I do want to say it again one more time too. Like, don't hesitate to reach out. Start with me. Like, if you don't want to create, and that's a great point about creating that tension in the house and the tension between the kid and the teacher, or as you don't want to be perceived as the overbearing parent who's
Right.
all over the teachers all the time. Like, just reaching out to an administrator. If I can't help your problem, and trust me, when it comes to Schoology, I'm not going to be able to help your problem. But it's good for us to get that kind of feedback and to hear. And I can put you in contact with the person that can fix it. I can get the answer for you, by talking to the team and saying, here, we've got a family that is kind of getting mixed messages. And we totally empathize with that. And we don't want, the last thing anybody from LMS wants is the work that we're providing to try to teach your child to create tension and anxiety and stress in your household. We want to do everything we can to help with that. So I just really want to encourage anybody that can hear my voice to reach out to me or to an appropriate any one of the administrators or counselors, or the team leader, like whomever you feel most comfortable doing that with, because I really feel like that's the best way to get to the root of this problem.
And I also don't want to have people like double, triple, quadruple do data entry, because that's the waste of everybody's time.
Sure,
That's
sure.
what everyone's doing, because I
Great
heard
point.
they've got to grade in big ideas, and then they've got to grade in infinite campus, and then that's got to, we don't want teachers manually entering 900 line items for 300
Right.
groups. That's silly.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
there's a way that we just understand, so we know where to look, that would be best. That's all.
Great. That's great feedback. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording just because I'm coming up on an hour and I'm worried about how much space I have to record. But we're going to stay here. So just anybody that's viewing this on the recording, this is the end of the meeting for you.